Hi guys, how you doing? Well, I'm hanging in there. I just learned that my family could have stepped in and saved all my stuff had I communicated better, which is what I had said before about you know bad communication being really what's at fault here, not my friend. It was really bad communication, and mostly from me. And so I really only have myself to blame for what happened. I can't get angry at anybody else. I can only get angry at myself for not communicating better. Um, but anyway, with that aside, I have an update as far as my dental issues are concerned. And I call this approaching approaching the home stretch. Thank you. It took me a minute to think of it. I knew I had it, and then it left me. That's what happens when you turn 56. You just your memory just isn't like it used to be. So anyway, and that's what sucks about getting old. You know. Anyway, okay. So be I call this approaching the home stretch. That's what I call this. Okay. Now, the dentist was in here. The roaming dentist was in here with the bottom plate, the teeth on the bottom plate raised 4 millimeters taller. And I put them on, and I put them in my mouth, and it still didn't look right. It still didn't feel right. And he said to me, if you're not happy, I'm not happy either. So let's make you happy. So I said, okay. So he left the templates in my mouth, and he said, separate the two plates in your mouth to where it should be, you know. So, it was a real trick because I've been so used to not having anything in my mouth to having dentures in my mouth. It was like, I have to get used to this again. So anyway, I did, and I I separated the upper part of my mouth from the bottom, and he said separate them until it's how tall the teeth should be, and I did. And he looked and he said, okay, then we have to increase the height of the teeth 7 millimeters more. So that says to me that from the original sample that he gave me, the total height of the bottom teeth should have been 11 millimeters taller than what was from what he originally put in onto the lowers. 11 millimeters. Hey, they gotta be the right height. They gotta be the height that I remember my bottom teeth in. And remember looking into the mirror so many times, and looking at my own videos many times. And so, yeah. Apparently, they should be 11 meters more than what he originally had. So from the 4 millimeters that he increased, he is going to increase it another 7 millimeters more. So it's going to be another 7 millimeters taller. So it's 11 millimeters. So it's going to be pretty close to 16 millimeters. So it's going to be a little bit more than 8 millimeter, like 8 millimeter film. which I wish I had an 8mm film. I would have put it in there. But yeah, that's about as tall as it should be. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a total of 11mm taller. See, these are the things you don't know when you have teeth in your mouth and you grow up with them. You don't know how tall, the exact height of the teeth. You just know that you look good, you look handsome, your smile is great, you bite and chew fine, but you never think about the height. You never think about the dimensions of the teeth. You just know how they look. You just don't know the actual dimensions. And that's what the dentist is for. So for all you people out there who deal with dentists or who are dentists, I tell you, my hats go off to you guys. I mean, you and doctors. I mean, I saw a report about a doctor or somebody who wants to be a doctor who wants free schooling, and the thing is, because he doesn't want to pay back a student loan while he's in school. I mean, my God, it's just like he had absolutely no clue that the student loan comes due when you either graduate or leave, because that's exactly what I went through. I went to college, I took out a student loan, and excuse me, and the loan did not become due for repayment until after I left. As long as I was still in school, I did not have to pay anything on the student loan back. Now, I worked at the Marina Dining Hall, so I had money in my pocket, so I couldn't eat out on Sundays because the dining hall was closed on Sundays, Sunday night, that is. And if I wanted to buy snacks at the corner store or records or whatever I wanted to buy, I could. So I had money in my pocket. But I never had to worry about paying the student loan back while I was in school. And the amount of the course, of the classes, they correspond with what the salary is going to be once you're out of school and once you start working. So whatever career field you choose, whether it's doctor, dentist, attorney, accountant, bookkeeper, whatever occupation you are going to do, whatever career you're going to pursue, your salary is relative to how much those classes cost. So when you graduate or you leave school and you start working on your career, that's when the student loan becomes due, and that's when you start making your payments. And the payments are extremely reasonable. Yeah, it takes 10 years, but hey, look, you're 22 or 24 years old, so by the time you're 32 or 34, when you're right in the middle of your career, that's when you'll pay it off. And one of the most important things about paying off your student loan is that it helps you build credit. And let me tell you something, credit, you don't think about credit until you have to make major purchases. That is, to buy a car or a house or take out a major loan, because you've got a payment history there. You've got a payment history with the bank. And this is what's terrible about what I heard about, the bank stopped doing student loans and now the government does. That's terrible. That is terrible. It's the banks that are supposed to do the student loans, and because when you're in college, you are engaging in responsibility as an adult. And part of that responsibility as an adult is paying your bills. That's part of being an adult. And when you pursue your chosen career, whether it's accounting, bookkeeping, whatever it may be, okay, you have to pay bills. You have to pay bills. And if they tell you something, it's wonderful. As much as many people hate paying bills, it's a great feeling. It is a wonderful feeling because you know you are taking care of yourself. You're taking care of yourself. And part of taking care of yourself, and you feel that certain pride. Hey, I can do this. I'm capable of doing this. And I get my money at the beginning of the month. So I says, okay, what are my bills? A payment of the rent, electric, gas, phone. Okay, when is the electric due? On the 22nd? No problem. I'll pay it early. Then I'm right out of checks, and the check. Of course, you make payments direct with debits now. But when I was, after I graduated, and I had to pay rent, paid the first of the month, boom, rent was paid, good. I couldn't stay here another month. The electric payment, boom, good. I'm assured that I'll still have electric. It feels great. Feels great, to make your payments. And that's one of the great things about a student loan is you get a payment history because you don't really appreciate your credit and your credit score until you end up falling on hard times and credit card accounts get charged off. You owe money at the bank, and you owe money here, and you owe money there, and your credit score goes down, 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 and you're in trouble because, oh my gosh, your car needs a new engine, blah, blah, blah. You don't have the money. Where's that money going to come from? But if you got good credit, hey, you don't have to worry about that. You says, oh my God, I'll need a new engine. That's $1,000. I don't have $1,000. Okay, I'll take out a loan from the bank. And you have a good credit score and you got a good credit history. The bank will give you that loan because you've established a history of paying a debt. Because I wanted to make a payment or pay for a phone off of Verizon. And Verizon said, they could not let me do that because I don't have a payment history with them. So they have no idea if I am a good risk to make those payments. And that's another thing. If you pay back, if you have a loan, whatever loan it is, do not, and I say this with the urgency of this, do not, even if you have the money to do it, don't pay it in full right away. Make payments. Yes, you will have to pay on interest. Yes, you do. And you know what? That is a small price to pay to establish a good credit history. A good credit history. So, because you make a small payment, let's say $20 or $30 or $50, okay? You make that payment of $50 and you still owe about $2,000, okay? You're asking strangers to trust you that you are going to make the next payment. They have to trust and say, we're going to wait until next month and see if he makes another payment. You make another payment. Wonderful. Okay, that's 2 payments you made. Okay, now you paid $100 toward what you owe. Okay, then they have to not wait another month. Let's see if he makes another month. Next month comes, 3rd month, boom. You make your payment. Now you paid back $150. And now the bank or whoever you owe money to can start relaxing, and you establish a bit of history, and the more payments you make, the more secure your debtor is going to feel, the more comfortable he's going to feel, the more bigger and the trust he's going to have in you. You're a good risk. You're a good risk. You're a man of your word. You're going to pay that back. They don't have to worry about you. And that is very valuable. And for emergencies that come up, like you need a tow, and then you have to, let's say your car breaks down, and then they have to tow it, and then you have to not only pay the garage who fixed your car, but you also have to pay for storage if you don't get it out or whatever. Then they're going to charge storage because your car's taking up room. Your car's taking up space. That because any garage or any place, they own a certain amount of land, and they have to make, it's like landlords. Landlords own a building, and there are so many apartments in that building, and he has to, he doesn't have to provide electricity or anything unless it's part of the rent, but whatever, probably maintenance. So he has to pay, the landlord has to pay the salary of the maintenance guy. Okay, how is he gonna get that money? How is he? So he's not out money. How is your landlord going to be able to pay his maintenance guy's salary without being in debt or without taking money out of his pocket, right? So part of the rent goes to that. And the same thing. So anything you got going. So it's always so important to have credit. It's so important to have credit. And same thing with the dentist. My situation. Thank goodness that I'm in a situation where Medicare and Medicaid pays for my dentures. But what if you have to have major surgery? Because some insurances don't pay for dental. I remember when I had to have teeth pulled, and my family had to step in and pay because I couldn't afford it. And I didn't have credit. I had pretty bad credit then. I still have bad credit now. But see, that's what's so important about credit and your credit score. Because if I had good credit score, and emergency came in, I had an accident, and my tooth was chipped. I had a friend whose tooth was chipped. Or let's say you have animals, you have pets, you have a dog, you have a cat, and all of a sudden your animal, your pet gets sick and has to go to the animal hospital or to the vet or something like that. You know, they don't have insurance for that. You have to pay out of your pocket for that. Now, some vets, they'll say, okay, we could accept a payment plan. Or they'll say, no, we have to accept, payment right up front. And you don't have the money. Well, you could take out a small loan, and if you had a good credit, you had a good credit score, you go to the bank, you say, I like to take out $300 loan, because I need it right away because I have to pay the vet for my loving animal that I love so much. And they'll check your credit and say, he's a good credit. Okay, we'll give you credit. We'll give you a loan. That's what's so important about credit. And what they're talking about now, about giving free education and doing away with banks with student loans and trying to eliminate student loans. The whole point of student loans is to establish good credit as well as pay back after you're done. That's the whole point of it. The whole point of student loans is that you can go to college without having to worry about making payments or without having to pay anything. That the student loan will be due when you leave. When you leave, excuse me, when you leave college, that's when they say, okay, the student loan is due. and you opened up your practice, you opened up your business, and you could say they will, because the salary that you make, the payments will reflect your income. So it will not take so much out of your budget. Okay? So all this fear that they're spreading about student loan is just preposterous. It's absurd. It's absurd. Some people think that you take out a loan and then you pay it immediately? I mean, come on. Have a brain. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. The loan becomes due when you graduate. I went through it. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about because when I left college, the student loan was due. And when I took the student loan out in 1980, I had to start paying it back in 82, which meant I had 10 years. So in 1992, made my last payment, and right, I had my student loan was paid off. I owe nothing, and I've established a credit history, and so I could do anything. I could do anything. I could buy anything. I could go on vacations. I could do whatever I wanted because I established a correct payment history. And that is what's so important about student loans. Anyway, and that's the thing with dentists and doctors. And this doctor, I mean, the whole point of having to pay back student loan, okay, if you're a doctor, you have to be good. And you have to be responsible. You have to be the best doctor or dentist or accountant or bookkeeper or administrative assistant, manager, whatever, cinematographer, whatever. You have to be the best. Nursing school at my college. Big nursing school there. So nurses, nurse payments. Whatever the teachers, people who major in education and become professors or teachers, their salaries, it's relative. It's all relative. And that's how you learn the value of your education. If education was free, you would not feel a certain value to it. Would not feel any value to it. I learned that long time ago when my dad stopped giving me allowance. My dad stopped giving me allowance at the age of 15 years old. And he said, you'll never learn the value of a dollar unless you had to earn to make it. And you work to make it. And I learned that. And I delivered newspapers for a year. And it was an easy job. I just rode my bike. But then came the responsibility of going door to door and collecting, making collections on on those deliveries. So anyway, I didn't want to get too much off on different subjects. I guess I got onto it by talking about the dentist. But in any regard, he's going to come back soon, probably another couple of weeks or so, with the adjusted bottom plate, 7 more millimeters taller. This should be it. This should be the home stretch, and then I'll see if I'm happy with it, and we'll go from there. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you, take something from what I said. 56-year-old guy with experience in life, so I can offer you my advice based on my life experience. So anyway, guys, I will see you later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Okay, guys. Bye.